What is MalletLab?
Well, I'll tell you, obviously it's a little different now, but MalletLab we started in 2017, and I've been running when I had Arts Garage and I was on the board at Old School Square, all the nonprofit theaters in South Florida. I always had kids camps. So since like 2006, I've been running camps for kids from 6 to 13 years old at my various venues. And that's cool because, there's a ton of those out there and, they always looking, that's the market. But I always wanted to have a mallet camp, like a specific one. And when I came into college, my first college experience, I was a drum corps guy and I was a jazz guy, and they put me with this contemporary mallet player, and I started playing scales for him, and I was playing really high, and he just like bashed everything I loved. He bashed marching bands at the worst thing ever, and I'm not a jazz guy. That stuff is garbage. You guys just play this, and that every lesson was like he just throwing these jabs at me, and it was miserable. And in with mallet percussion, everybody comes from it from a different place. Some people, that's what they choose. Other people are piano players, and there was no pianos offered in school, so they're like, all right, I guess I'll play the bells, and that's where they come from. Others are in marching band, and they're oboe players, and they want to do marching band, but there's no oboes in marching band, so they end up in the front ensemble, and that's where they're from. So I wanted a camp that embraced all of that had teachers from all of those different areas to where that would be their entry point. But then once they got there, it would widen their gaze to be able to have a teacher who's a modern percussion, contemporary vibraphone player, or a jazz person, or a marching person, a composer, so that they could all come together and widen out. You know what I mean? Because there's no percussion's new, and so are mallets. Anyhow, first year I leveraged every single relationship I had. We borrowed every instrument we could possibly find from every school where we had a connection, and we had 17 kids from 3 states, and that was 2017. And then 2018 we had 53 kids from 4 countries and 14 states. And then 2019 we had about 55 kids from about 5 countries and about 15 or 16 states. So it's really grown. Obviously this year is different. So we pivoted, and the question was, what resources do we have that we can really use to fill a gap? There's already lots of people doing great camps out there. There's lots of great camps that are going to happen this summer for mallet players, for all sorts of musicians. But what I think is not being done, and here's the soundbite, is that what's not being done is thinking about what gaps there are in the traditional education. What are the skills that are needed to survive in this brave new world that we're going to go into? Can we use Ableton? Can we record on our own? What about miking? What about using Mainstage? What about digital workstations? What about MIDI? What about Harmony Cloud, understanding composition? What about arranging? What about video production for what we do specifically? Right? How is that being done? What about using pedals and amplification and all of this next level stuff? What about film scoring? So this year's MalletLab, there are no technique classes. I mean, there might be some technique put in there. A lot of the players happen to be mallet players, but these guys are producers, songwriters. We have somebody who's on 87 films, video games, and TV shows, and I guarantee you've heard of him, who's doing 3 sessions on film scoring, all the way starting from setting it up to advanced sound design. Who can't use that? I can't wait for it. We have people talking about reharmonization of jazz standards. You want to play jazz standards, but you want them in your own voice. So how is that done? What are some of the skills to be able to do that? And we're going to start doing that from a level where you could be at any level and still get some value from it. Stefan's going to be there talking all about harmony. I mean, that's going to be an hour and a half of just soaking it up, and it's just going to be great. And so yeah, we have Cameron Leach, who's a contemporary percussion soloist, but his setups and what he's doing and how he uses tracks to, and you got to run around a marimba, vibraphone, gongs. He plays all of this crazy stuff with tracks in the background, with the in-ears. How's he creating those tracks? How's he doing it? How's he queuing it up? What's he doing? And we have concerts from everybody. This cat Plexus play, Matt DiBiase, out of California. This guy's on another thing. I don't even know what he's like. What's in the Kool-Aid? Because he's just creating these like just multi-track.
Send me him.
Right, crazy.
Crazy.
And he's like hitting the chords, and he's showing the shapes of the chords on the thing while he's running down. He's just, and it's super creative.
Editing. Yeah, so creative.
Video editing, right? So Nathan Skinner just did a whole virtual big band. He's just every day putting out content, putting out work. Chase Jackson. it's like I guess they don't have kids. I guess I'm like I don't know where they're finding the time, but
Right.
I can't wait to learn their process. But you know what? There's something they know about how to do that and put it out with the high quality that they've worked on through all of this time. That I want everyone to be able to benefit from that experience. The challenge is not everybody knows they need it yet. And I think like if I was like, hey, this guy's going to be on here talking about how you hold your hand and how you play this and the wrist and the fingers, and but there's so many people that do that great. And as much as I think that I could quickly sell out a camp by doing a bunch of that stuff and getting guys who are well known for that stuff, I don't feel like I'd be doing the community any service by doing that. So I wanted to find these guys, and people may not know about some of these guys, but I'm telling you, man, there is no chance. I should offer a money back guarantee because that's how sure I am. I'm not saying
I
I'm
doing
doing that
they're
right
on
now,
the
but I'm just
cutting
saying
edge.
yeah,
You and I both. I mean, I'm seeing every day what people are putting out, and the guys you've assembled, guys and girls, everyone you've assembled for this program, are on the cutting edge. And I
yeah,
think that if you're growing up, if you're young, I mean, no matter what your age, but if you want to be playing music in this day and age, and especially after all of this with COVID, I mean, I think the skill sets that they have to offer are what are going to make you're just going to provide some skills that you really are going to serve you.
and,
Are not, like you said, are not being taught anywhere else.
yeah. And here's a cool thing too. I mean, all of these software companies have like 90-day trials, 60-day trials. So the software is going to be available. That shouldn't be a barrier. Oh, I don't have Ableton or I don't have this. Like you can for 2 weeks while you try it out, and then figure out if it's something you want to invest in. And if not, there's some companies that we're working with to make sure that everybody gets a full trial for the sake of this camp. So other than the cost, and the cost is $400 for the camp for the whole week, and there's 20 sessions. There's 15 classes and 5 concerts plus Q&A hangs and all that kind of good stuff to where you just get to hang out with these guys. But hey, the platform is changing. Like it's changed. It's never going to be the same. You're never